Hey guys, this is Miss Mold and I am going to be helping you out with your first project for week 1 summer camp. So for this project we are going to be working on a watercolor / multimedia landscape. For this project you're going to need a couple materials, but you're allowed to use much more. First, you are going to need your paintbrushes that came in your pack. I don't have the same pack as you, so I'm just using what I have, so use whatever paintbrushes you have. You're going to need your watercolor set, and for this project I'm going to be using my own watercolor set, and you're going to of course need a pencil. Now later on you're going to have the option of other things that you can use. You have your Prismacolor colored pencils, which you can add to your finished landscape. You have oil pastels pretty similar to the ones I have here. And you have markers, which you could always use to add, especially a black marker or a black pen that you can use later in your project. Now, before you even get started on your landscape, you're going to have to do your watercolor practice. So if you look in the other assignment, you'll see a video that says 12 watercolor techniques. So before you get started in your landscape, I want you guys to finish this on half a sheet of watercolor paper. Once you finish that, we're going to jump right into the landscape. So the first thing you need to do with your actual landscape is collect images. So you can use any type of landscape, which is basically a picture that is outside and is nature-based. So it could be on a beach or in a desert. It could be in a forest or a jungle. It could be the ocean. It could have an island. As long as it is outside, and it shouldn't have man-made objects. And yours in particular will not have any man-made projects, meaning no houses, buildings, cars. It should all be based on nature. Once you've picked 1 or 2 or even 3 photographs to reference, you're going to end up sketching out your landscape. So I don't want you to necessarily copy the pictures that you have, because that's not creative. I just want you to use them to sort of get the proportions of where would your background be, your middle ground, and your foreground. So use those pictures as a reference of maybe some ideas for things to draw, how you want to set it up, and then adding your own touch to it as well. So you'll only have to use your pencil for this part and half a page of your watercolor paper. I just want you to very, very lightly sketch out your landscape with just a few little details in there. You don't want to add absolutely everything, and you need to sketch it light so that you cannot see the pencil once you actually start your watercolor design. Once you finish your watercolor design with pencil on your watercolor paper, you're going to go in with your watercolor tray and your brush and of course a cup of water, and you are going to start painting your landscape as I have done. Now remember, part of your requirement is to have at least 3 different types of watercolor techniques. So think of how you can break up your different sections with different techniques. Can you use something in the sky and something else for the grass? That's going to make a big difference on the texture of your landscape and giving it a little bit more pizzazz and even depth. Now, if you think that your landscape has enough interest with just the watercolor, that's fine. You don't have to add any other tools or materials. But what I will say is if you want to, there are a ton of ways to spice up your landscape. So if you didn't put oil pastel underneath to mask, you can always put oil pastels on top. What I usually like to do with my landscape is add pen to it to add an outline, or maybe do hatching, cross hatching, or you can even go over top with colored pencil, which is something that I often do to give a little bit more value and a little bit more texture. However you complete your landscape, once you are finished, you're going to take a high quality picture so that you can upload it to Teams. Last but not least, be creative and have a ton of fun.